Well, I think what they're cautioning against is to the Kremlin not to use the 24th as an opportunity to launch a larger attacks on civilian populations and trying to tie it somehow to the murder of this young woman, Dugina, who was killed the other day. And of course, the Russians have come out and said this was a Ukrainian strike, which of course I don't think any serious person believes. But this is what they're talking about.
Yeah, we had that attack in which the daughter of one of President Putin's closest allies was killed. Russia has blamed Ukraine. Ukraine has denied any involvement. And I mean, conspiracy theories abound because Daria Dugina, she was 29. She was the daughter of Alexander Dugin, who was a very close associate of President Putin's. This does appear to be a new twist to this conflict, though. What do you make of what has happened there?
Well, there's two or three things about this that I think that are interesting, and that I'm sure the right people are watching. First of all, um, my guess, and this is pure speculation on my part, but my guess that this is more of an inside, like a mob hit. There's, this the Kremlin and Russian oligarchs are no stranger to violent crime, and so I could imagine because of the pressure that's on the Kremlin right now, because the war has gone so poorly for them here 6 months on, that anybody that criticizes uh, is going to be hit, or maybe this was sent as a message, any of these kind of things. For sure, the Russians, the FSB, would be terribly embarrassed if a Ukrainian operative could just kind of waltz in and get the car and this was the father's car, and attach a bomb to his car, and then get out of there. That would be what a failure by the FSB, and there's no real value in my view, for Ukraine to have hit a target like this. So this is why I think it's mostly internal, but it does reflect that Russia is vulnerable, and they cannot protect their rear area in Ukraine. They cannot protect their bases in occupied Crimea. And now it looks like they can't even protect family members inside the inner circle.
And we've been hearing that conference on Crimea. Our outgoing Prime Minister Boris Johnson addressed it, as did President Zelensky. And we've seen those strikes on Russian military targets in Crimea. This is territory that the Russians have held since 2014. What do you make of the significance of that? Do you think it is in any way, can we see it in any way as a fight back by the Ukrainian forces to try to actually retake territory?
There's a couple of really important aspects of this. First of all, this is part of Ukraine demonstrating that they have the momentum, or they're gaining momentum. They've taken the initiative now. The Russians are not famous for disciplined security at airfields and ammunition storage sites. We've all seen video of ammunition stacked up on the side of railheads. This is an area where you have to have attention to detail, and you need really, really good sergeants to ensure soldiers are doing the right thing for security, which is kind of tedious. Obviously, they're not doing that. It's not even in their culture to have NCOs do these things the way you would expect in the British Army or the U.S. Army. So it's revealing a vulnerability. It also, of course, is adding a lot of stress to the logistics system overall. When you can hit airfields like the one that was hit in Saki a couple of weeks ago, where all the thousands of Russian vacationers were standing on the beach watching this place go up in smoke. This was an important air base for them for maintenance, and doing a lot of things for the aircraft, not just taking off on missions. This is a problem for them. And of course, the more you can hit their rear area, it will force the Russians to divert energy and resources to protect those. But the best part of it for
Yeah.
me is watching the thousands of Russian vacationers now jamming that bridge, trying to get out of there. And I wondered, like, if Crimea is so important, how come they didn't all go to an army recruiting office and say, "Hey, I want to get in the fight"? Hell no, they wanted to get out of there.
Yeah, Russia does, though, now control about a fifth of Ukrainian territory. It is going to be very, very difficult indeed for Ukraine, even with Western backing, to dislodge those Russian forces. We're 6 months into this conflict. It has, to a degree, fallen out of the headlines. How great do you think is the risk of war fatigue, particularly not so much perhaps on the front line in Ukraine? There, I mean, this is their country; they're fighting for it. But in the UK, the US, and other allies that are providing such a vital role in terms of the equipment and weapons that they are sending to Ukraine.
Well, you're right in that the UK and the US and other allies, the support is essential for Ukraine, and I think UK, frankly, has been out in front a lot of the way, and I hope that this will continue. My sense is that it will. But I would slightly, well, not slightly, I completely disagree with the premise of the question in that this is going to drag on, and the Ukrainians really don't have a chance to push the Russians out. I think actually the Russians are exhausted. Their logistic system is exhausted. There's nothing else they can do except continue launching artillery against civilian targets. And even that has dropped off significantly in the last few weeks. They're not able to replace precision weapons because of the sanctions, which limit their ability to get the components they need for that. The great Russian Black Sea Fleet is hiding on the other side of Crimea. Even though Ukraine doesn't even have a navy, the Black Sea Fleet is terrified of Ukrainians with missiles that are shore-based. And the Russian Air Force will not fly over Ukraine. They launch missiles from inside Russian and Belarusian airspace. I think, to be honest, I think that if we all deliver what we said we were going to do, then it is a very real possibility that the Russians are going to crack and that we're going to see Ukraine pushing them back to the 23 February line by the end of this year.